The crash had torn the jungle sky apart. Flames danced above the treetops as the Earth ship shattered through layers of violet atmosphere. Charred metal, screaming alarms, and the sharp, metallic taste of blood filled Captain Eric Vance's mouth as the world flipped. He didn't remember the impact. Only the silence afterward. And her voice. Now, he lay under the crescent leaf canopy, barely conscious, watching creatures of light and silk approach. Not monsters. Not soldiers. Girls. They were tall, each easily 2 meters or more, and striking in a way no human symmetry could replicate. Their skin shimmered with a liquid opal sheen, shifting subtly in hue with their emotions. Their eyes were large, glowing faintly in the dusk, and framed by long, elegant features. And they were young. Too young to hold the wary cruelty of politics or war. Eric coughed, pushing himself halfway up. The nearest girl flinched back, not out of fear, but wonder. She stepped closer, cocking her head. "You're male," she said, like tasting a word she wasn't sure was allowed. He blinked. "And you're tall." She frowned, then giggled. The sound rippled like water through the other girls, who formed a loose circle around him. Dozens of them. Watching. Whispering. None hostile. Just fascinated. He wasn't dead. But something told him life had gotten much more complicated. Her name was Lissa. She was the first to touch him. It was innocent, a brush of her fingers against his forearm, studying the texture of his skin like it was an ancient artifact. "You're rough," she murmured. "Like bark. Our skin is not like this." "Human thing," Eric said, trying to keep the pain out of his voice. "We bruise easy, too." She leaned closer. "That is so strange." He tried to sit up and failed. She caught him, stronger than she looked, even with those delicate fingers. The air between them tightened. Her pupils dilated, her skin flushed faintly gold. He noticed it. So did she. I shouldn't," she whispered, pulling back quickly. "We're not supposed to touch. The matron said if we ever saw one like you, to report it. But you don't look dangerous. You look broken." That stung more than the bruises. "I'm not here to hurt anyone," Eric said slowly. "Just crashed. Can't even stand. Hell, I don't even know what planet this is." Lissa hesitated, biting her lower lip. "It's not a planet. It's a Syramore. A birthing moon. No males are allowed." His eyes narrowed. "So, you're all cloned?" She nodded. "Born from the source pool. Raised by matrons. We're educated, trained, and when we're ready, we are taken to the bonding ritual." He frowned. "With who?" Her silence answered the question. There were no men. Not anymore. Eric's world narrowed to the smooth walls of his room, a shimmering oval dome made of a material that pulsed faintly under his fingers. No doors. No guards. But he knew it was a prison just the same. Each day, Lissa returned. Sometimes with food, delicate strips of nutrient-laced petals and water with a strange floral sweetness. Other times, just to sit with him. Talk. Learn. "What's kissing?" she asked once, out of nowhere. He choked on his water. "Kissing? Yes. You said your people do it when they feel things. Emotions. Desire. Love." She tilted her head. "We don't have that. Not like that. We bond only once. 4 genes. Then it ends." He swallowed. "It's more than that. A kiss can mean a lot. It's slow. Or fast. It can be desperate. Or soft. It's when you don't know how to say something, so you let your lips do the talking." Her eyes widened. "That sounds terrifying." He chuckled. "It can be. The first time." She looked at him, long and quiet. Her voice softened. "Would you show me?" Eric froze. He should have said no. This was alien territory, figuratively and literally. She was young in emotion, naive to his culture. He was injured, isolated, unsure if he'd ever make it off this moon. But she looked at him not like a goddess to be obeyed, but a girl trying to understand. Not out of lust, but longing. He leaned forward slightly, close enough that he could feel her breath, warm and laced with sweet herbs. Only if you want it, he whispered. She closed her eyes. Their lips met, soft, tentative. She gasped into him, pulled back, touched her mouth like it had been scorched. That was. Too much? He asked. Her golden blush deepened. No. But I feel like I'll never be the same. The next day, he didn't see her. Or the day after that. On the third day, the walls of his cell vibrated, then opened. 2 towering women stood outside, draped in black, marked with bone-like armor along their limbs. Matrons. One of them pointed at him. You have corrupted one of ours. The spark has awakened. You will answer for this. He was dragged out, wrists bound in bands that hummed against his pulse. Dozens of girls stood along the path, silent, watching. A few met his eyes. Most didn't. But Lissa was there, tear-streaked, arms clenched to her chest. They're sending you to the dead zone, she said. I tried to stop them. I told them it wasn't poison, that it was truth. But they don't believe. They fear you. They should, Eric said bitterly. Fear makes people stupid. She stepped forward, trembling. Her fingers brushed his once more, so brief, it felt like lightning. I don't fear you, she whispered. I only fear never seeing you again. He wanted to say something. Anything. But the jungle swallowed him before he could. Eric sat beside a broken monolith, the jungle breathing around him. It wasn't silent, not here. The dead zone sang in whispers, rustling leaves, clicking insects, low-pitched animal groans that sounded almost deliberate. Nothing about this place felt empty. It felt watched. He'd been exiled for 5 days. Rations were gone. His wounds had begun to heal, but infection lingered under the skin like a threat. He'd lost the comfort of sterile walls and curious alien eyes, but not the memory of her. Lissa. She was everywhere. In the breeze that mimicked her voice. In the firelight shadows that curved like her silhouette. And worst of all, in his heartbeat, too loud in his ears every time he closed his eyes. He had kissed her. And now she might suffer for it. Back in the colony, Lissa stood at the base of the circle of thought, an amphitheater made of spiral stone and pulsing crystal veins. The matrons loomed above her, unmoved, glowing tattoos flickering with judgment. You're infected, one said coldly. The spark is rising in you. It's not an infection, Lissa whispered, fists clenched. It's emotion. Another matron leaned forward. Emotion is a storm. We've tamed our skies. You risk breaking our world for feelings? I risk nothing but myself. That silence was louder than any scream. Lissa straightened. You say we're born from the source pool. Perfect. Balanced. But we are also empty. We live, we train, we repeat. I didn't know that until I felt something real. You touched him. I kissed him. Shock rippled through the assembly. The crystals dimmed. Someone gasped. One of the older matrons spoke at last, voice like glass on stone. You've awoken the spark. You've bonded. It cannot be undone. Lissa flinched. Then let it become something new. No, the matron said. It must be extinguished before it spreads. Eric didn't know she was coming until the vines parted behind him. He spun, knife made from sharpened alien bone raised high. But it dropped the moment he saw her. Lissa. Mud streaked her legs, her robes torn at the hem. Her opalescent skin shimmered with heat and rebellion. Her breath hitched when she saw him. You're alive, she whispered. He stared, stunned. Why the hell are you here? They already did, she said. I'm exiled now. Like you? Silence. It was the kind of silence that carries weight. Regret. Longing. The crackling edge of something about to ignite. He looked away. You shouldn't have come. I had to, she replied softly. You're the only real thing I've ever touched. They found shelter in the ruins that night, crumbled stone towers swallowed by vine and time. They sat beside a fire made from bones and bark, avoiding eye contact like it might burn. Back home, Eric began, voice hoarse. We used to have stories. About people who changed whole worlds with a kiss. She looked at him slowly. Do they ever survive? Sometimes. The best ones don't. Lissa moved closer. I don't want a story. I want a choice. Her fingers reached for his, tentative, trembling. He didn't pull away. I don't understand everything, she said. But when you touched me, something inside woke up. I look at the others, and they're still sleepwalking. I can't go back to that. You don't have to, Eric whispered. But this, it's not safe. It might get worse before it gets better. I'm not afraid of worse, she said. Only of never feeling more. Their second kiss wasn't gentle. It was desperate, full of grief, relief, need. He cupped her face with his bruised hands. She straddled his lap like she was afraid he might vanish. Her body glowed with emotion, veins pulsing with golden light, as if her skin couldn't contain what bloomed within. They broke apart only when the ruins lit up around them, ancient etchings flaring to life, feeding off the bond they had reignited. The symbols pulsed in sync with her breath, her heartbeat, his name whispered by stone itself. What is this place? She asked, panting. Eric touched the walls. I think this was where it all started. The first bonding. The one your ancestors tried to erase. Her voice dropped. Then we're standing on sacred rebellion. They didn't sleep. Instead, they lay beside one another, not speaking, only sharing breath and skin and silence. It wasn't about sex. Not yet. It was about recognition. About touch that meant understanding, not ownership. She cried once, without knowing why. He held her tighter, just breathing with her, as if that would be enough to carry the weight. At dawn, she stood at the edge of the cliff, wind in her hair, watching the jungle stretch endlessly before them. They'll come for us, she said. When they realize I didn't die. They'll bring the unmakers. The what? Beings without emotion. They're bred only to erase. He joined her. Then we run. Or we fight. We're just two, she said. He smiled. Then we'll fight like 100. She looked at him, and for the first time, her eyes didn't glow with innocence. They burned with purpose. Eric, she said, reaching into a pouch and pulling out a sliver of crystal. This is the core of the source pool. If we bond fully, if we activate this inside the ruins, we won't just wake up the past. We'll remake the future. Or get ourselves killed. Would you die for meaning? He didn't hesitate. I'd live for it. But if I have to die, I'd rather do it with your name on my lips. She touched his cheek. Then let's burn the script they wrote for us. The markings on the ruins had begun to glow again, but this time, they pulsed with a rhythm Eric couldn't ignore. A heartbeat. Not his. Not hers. The planet itself had come alive. And it was listening. Lissa stood barefoot inside the ruins, her skin glistening with dew and anticipation. The dawn filtered through the cracked dome above, painting her in molten gold. Eric watched her from a few steps away, feeling something shift, deep in his chest, in his blood. Not lust. Something older. What do you feel right now? He asked. She turned to him slowly, voice quiet but electric. Like I'm on the edge of a cliff. And falling would be a choice. Eric took a step closer. Then fall with me. Their fingers met. And the ruins responded. They had prepared all night. Lissa had retrieved the core of the source pool, a sliver of living crystal encoded with the genetic memories of her species. The last time it had been activated, entire cities were erased to prevent feelings from spreading. This time, it would be used for the opposite. I don't know what will happen if we finish the bond, Lissa whispered, kneeling beside the pool of glowing water in the heart of the ruins. But I know what happens if we don't. Eric knelt across from her. They win. The fear wins. She nodded. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steel. Then let's rewrite the ritual. He reached out, placing both hands in the water. She mirrored him. The core crystal between them began to hum. Energy surged from the ground, not like a machine powering on, but like a memory being remembered. The walls echoed with phantom voices. Lovers from another era. Songs never sung aloud. Names lost to dust. Lissa gasped as warmth flooded her chest. Eric gritted his teeth, his body vibrating, nerves raw. Then their minds collided. It wasn't pain. It was truth. Visions slammed into Eric's consciousness. Lissa's first breath. Her fear of becoming a matron. The loneliness of perfection. The way her heart had leapt the first time he laughed. In return, she felt him, a planet that burned, a mother who died too early, a career in space to escape his own emptiness. And then her. This alien girl who looked like a goddess but asked questions like a child. Their emotions braided like DNA, overlapping, pulsing, evolving. They were no longer just touching skin. They were touching soul. Lissa collapsed against him, trembling. Did it work? She whispered. Eric held her, his voice hoarse. I think we just made history. She smiled faintly. I feel like I could cry and fly at the same time. The core crystal floated now, suspended in the air above them, glowing brighter than ever before. The pool had shifted, its waters no longer blue but a vibrant mix of gold and red. You changed it, Lissa breathed. You rewrote the genetic imprint. No, Eric said, eyes locked on hers. We did. They kissed again, slow, deep, different. Not like before. This was no longer rebellion. It was resurrection. Outside the ruins, the jungle began to stir. Flocks of whisperbirds took flight, howling beasts went silent. Trees bent as if bowing. The planet was syncing with something ancient and forgotten. But not everyone was pleased. The unmakers had been released. Lissa felt it before Eric did, a chill up her spine, her skin shifting to pale silver. They're close, she said. I can feel their void. Eric stood, jaw clenched. Then we hold the line. You don't understand, she said. They erase bonded ones. They silence what doesn't comply. They'll come for me first. No, Eric said, stepping in front of her. They'll have to go through me. She looked at him, heartbreaking. You'd die for me? He met her eyes. No. I'd die for us. They didn't have weapons. But the ruins were alive now. And so was the bond. When the unmakers arrived, 8 figures cloaked in black light, eyes like smoldering voids, they stopped at the edge of the ritual circle, confused. Eric didn't flinch. He walked to the center of the platform, palms out. I'm not your enemy, he said. I'm your mirror. I'm what you could become. One of the unmakers hissed, a soundless shriek. It charged. And hit a wall of light. Lissa had stepped forward, palms raised. You don't get to erase this, she said. This bond was chosen. Felt. Earned. The ruins responded. Light flared from the floor, searing the unmaker mid-lunge. It dissolved into ash. The others hesitated. Eric and Lissa stood side by side. You feel that? He whispered to her. The planet is with us. She nodded. Then we give them a reason to remember us. They didn't fight with fists. They fought with feeling. Each time Lissa channeled the bond, memories surged from the ruins, echoes of love, devotion, sacrifice. The unmakers screamed, burning from the inside out. Their void couldn't withstand the weight of truth. Eric roared as he slammed his hand to the altar, sending a shockwave of gold into the sky. Lissa's scream followed, high, melodic, ancient. Together, they ended the unmakers. The jungle was still. Smoke drifted from blackened soil. Ash fell like snow. Eric sank to his knees, exhausted. Lissa collapsed beside him, laughing softly through tears. We did it, she said. We brought back the old world. He looked at her, his voice cracking. No. We built a new one. She leaned in close, her breath a whisper on his lips. Then let's live in it. But before their lips could meet, the core crystal cracked in midair. A single tremor rocked the ruins. And a voice, female, ancient, vast, spoke from the stone. The bond has been sealed. But the reckoning is not yet over. They froze. Eric stood slowly, heart pounding. What was that? Lissa looked at the crystal, now dimming, and whispered, The planet has awakened. But now, so have the matrons. The ruins had stopped glowing. But Eric knew the world hadn't gone silent. No, this was the kind of quiet that came before the sky split open. And in Lissa's eyes he saw it too, the ache of something ancient waking up, and judging them both. The core crystal lay in fragments. Eric crouched near the remnants, the warmth still radiating from the shards brushing his fingertips. The bond was sealed. The ritual complete. And yet unease crawled up his spine like a whisper he couldn't shake. They know, Lissa murmured, standing barefoot on the altar, her skin shifting from opal to dusk blue with emotion. The matrons. The source. Everything that was buried is rising now. Thunder cracked above them. Not a storm. A summoning. Eric stood, brushing ash from his arms. Then let them come. I'm done hiding. Lissa looked over her shoulder, her gaze heavy with something more than fear. This isn't just about us anymore. He stepped toward her. It never was. The sky opened at midday. From the eastern horizon, ships descended, smooth, obsidian monoliths piercing the clouds like gods returning to Earth. No engines. No heat trails. Just cold silence and impossible grace. The matrons had arrived. Dozens of them stepped from the craft, cloaked, radiant, faces unreadable. They did not bring soldiers. They didn't need to. Their presence bent the very gravity of the world around them. Every step they took made the jungle pause. Eric and Lissa stood side by side as the council approached. And at the center of them walked Matron Prime Ilana, tall as Lissa, older by centuries, and twice as dangerous. Her voice echoed unnaturally as she spoke. You have broken the code. Desecrated the source. Lit the spark we spent 1,000 years suppressing. Eric didn't move. And yet here we are. Alive. Together. Better for it. Ilana's gaze flicked to her daughter. You were to be next in the line of succession. Now you stand bonded to a male. Corrupted. Lissa's voice didn't tremble. No. Awakened. Gasps rang out from the younger council members. Ilana's expression cracked, for just a heartbeat. And what do you believe this awakening earns you? Lissa stepped forward, her voice sharp, sure. A choice. A future not written in fear. The confrontation rippled across the planet. The core bond had spread its influence already. Across the moons and central colonies, others had begun feeling something. Emotions where there were none. Connection. Questions. A tremor pulsed beneath the ruins. It wasn't tectonic, it was change. You can undo it, Eric said, taking Lissa's hand. You can try to bury it again. But this time, there'll be too many of us. Matron Ilana walked closer until she stood inches from Eric, towering over him like judgment given form. Do you believe you're strong enough to face what this bond brings? You broke a system that kept a world in balance. He didn't blink. Maybe it was time the world fell out of balance. Ilana raised a hand. The air thickened. The source pool behind them pulsed in alarm. Lissa stepped in front of him. No, she said. You've forgotten something. Ilana hesitated. Lissa placed a hand on her mother's chest. Love isn't chaos. It's a choice to belong to someone, even when everything else tells you to run. The matron prime lowered her hand. It wasn't surrender. It was something worse for her, understanding. The council murmured behind her. One knelt. Then another. A ripple of confusion and emotion spread among them like fire through old wood. Ilana stepped back. And smiled. Barely. You were always too much like your father, she said. Lissa stiffened. You said I was born of the source alone. No, her mother replied. That was the first lie I ever told you. Your father was human. Like him. Eric's mouth opened. Closed. You knew all along? Elana nodded once. He died in exile, as you were supposed to. But it seems fate had another idea. The council withdrew without war. There was no declaration. No grand ceremony. Just silence. The kind that signals everything has changed, and nothing will be quite the same again. Eric and Lissa remained in the ruins as the sun dipped low. The bond still pulsed between them. But now, it wasn't just theirs. Lissa lay beside him in the grass, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. It's strange, she said. I never thought the rhythm of another could make me feel safe. He smiled, stroking her hair. You make me feel dangerous in the best ways. She laughed. We broke the world. No, he whispered. We woke it up. In the following days, others came. Young girls, dreamers, defectors, those who had felt stirrings after the bond ceremony. They didn't come to worship. They came to learn. Eric taught them laughter. Lissa taught them truth. And together, they built something that had no name in their language. So they gave it one in his. Hope. On the final evening before the planet's second moon rose full, Eric stood at the edge of the source pool, now quiet, its waters no longer glowing. Lissa came to him, draped in ceremonial cloths embroidered with stars. Are you ready? She asked. For what? To leave. Or stay. He looked at her, really looked. This alien girl who once asked what a kiss was, now standing taller than any warrior he'd known. I didn't crash on your world, he said. I was meant to find it. She smiled. Then stay. Help build the new one. He took her hand. I already have. Final line. Asterisk. She left the galaxy behind for him. He gave up the stars to walk beside her. And together they lit a fire that could never be extinguished. Asterisk.